Hello friends, I welcome you all to my channel. This video is part of the playlist Python Basics Programming Beginner's Daily Dose, where I try to come up with videos on fundamental concepts of Python programming so that or beginner level developers or Python programmers will get a better idea of how the basic concepts of Python works behind the scenes. This is part 3 of the series of videos that I am preparing on a tuple. In the previous part 1 and part 2 are discussed about how do we instantiate tuple objects, and in part 2 are discussed about the common sequence operations on a tuple. In this part 3 I will discuss about uh, the fact that tuple is an immutable sequence data type. Before I get started, I will highly request all of you to uh, support my channel by subscribing to my channel, like my videos, share them with your friends so that uh, so that I get more motivation to come up with more videos of this kind in the future. Uh, so let's get started with this video. Okay, so Python is a sequence data type, but it's an immutable sequence data type, meaning you cannot modify uh, the content of the content of a tuple. Now, what does it mean uh, by a tuple being an immutable sequence data type? Now, it means that for a tuple, you cannot add an element, you cannot remove an element, and you cannot assign a new element for a particular index position. So let's try to understand these things with some code. Let's say I have a tuple. I'm taking a very simple example: 1, comma 2, comma 3. Now I cannot. Now once a tuple is created, the number of elements are fixed, and you cannot grow or shrink the tuple, meaning you cannot add an element. Like in a list, we can add elements by with the append operator. In fact, a tuple doesn't even have a append method. So tuple object has no attribute append. Now, another way to add elements to a tuple is by using the slice assignment operator. So we can, let's say, I want to add few elements from an iterable at the end of the tuple. So if for a mutable sequence type, we can do this by first specifying the slice at the end of the tuple, which would be something like uh, 0, 1, 2, 3. uh, 3. Let's see what is this. Okay, so this is a empty slice. Now, if I do this, if it would have been a mutable sequence data type, and I would have assigned this slice uh, an iterable, like let's say 4, 5, 6, then I would have got 4, 5, 6 appended after 3. So the new tuple would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it will not be the case because tuple is a is an immutable data is an immutable sequence. So this is not allowed, as it says the tuple object does not support item assignment. So basically, when you do slice assignment, it tries to assign all the elements from the right hand side iterable to a particular position in the tuple or in the slice. So item assignment is not allowed in the tuple, which means that you cannot assign a new object at a particular index position of a tuple. Now, we cannot even delete a particular element. Like in list, we have a remove. I do not think there is a remove uh, method. Let's say I want to remove 2. It will not work. Tuple has no attribute remove. Now, another way to remove an object from a from a collection is from a sequence is the using the delete keyword, that is del, and we can do like this, but it will not work for a tuple because tuple is an immutable sequence. For list it would work. So if we do this, tuple object doesn't support item deletion, so you cannot delete an item from a tuple. Now if this is so, does it mean that we cannot it's not possible to modify the content of the tuple? I mean, we cannot well, that is not completely true, because let's say we have, if the elements of the tuple are immutable, then definitely you cannot modify the content of the tuple, because those immutable objects will not be mutated, cannot be modified, and you cannot add or remove elements from a tuple. But what if a tuple, let's say a tuple contains an element which is a mutable data type? For example, what if I have a list, empty list, as an element of the tuple, and of course, and also let's say I have a dictionary. I have a dictionary as the uh, as an element of the tuple. Now, I can easily modify the empty list element of the tuple T2 by first accessing the list with the indexing, like the empty list is T2 1, then I can do append, let's say 0, it will work. And if you see T2, see 0 is appended in the list. Also, I can modify the dictionary by accessing the dictionary with the index and adding a key, let's say 3. I can do this. So T2 is this. So you can modify a particular object of a tuple if it's a mutable object, mutable data type, by uh, performing an operation on that object itself. You cannot assign a new object at a particular index position, and you cannot add an element, and you cannot delete an element from a tuple. That is all it means when we say a tuple is an immutable sequence data type. Now, what is there is a fundamental difference between a mutable sequence data type and an immutable sequence data type in Python. For a mutable sequence data type does not necessarily implement the hash function, but an immutable sequence data type in Python always has an implementation of the hash function, meaning you can hash it. So you can call the hash function on a tuple, and it will give you some hash value. But it will only be successful in giving the hash value only when all the elements of the tuple are immutable. In our case, T2 is a tuple, but its elements, the second element and the third elements, are mutable data type. So you cannot hash a tuple. So you cannot hash a tuple which has which has a mutable element. If we try to do hash T2, it will say unhashable type list. So list is not unhashable. List, since list is a mutable sequence data type, it doesn't have the protocol method hash. You cannot hash a list. So if we have, call the function hash on a list, what does it say? Unhashable type list. Now, the fact that tuple is a uh, immutable sequence data type, and it has the hash function, it is hashable, provided all its elements are immutable data type. It can be used as a key in a dictionary. Also, it can be used as an element in a set, which we will discuss in the next next video, which will be part 3 and the last final part of the working with a tuple. I hope you like this video. If it was beneficial to you, then please like it, share the video with your friends, and also do not forget to press the bell icon so that you will be notified by my future video. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, take care and bye.